For the past 7 years, I have been walking into Costco with a very specific list, not the stuff featured on those big seasonal displays. Not what everyone is tossing into their carts because some influencers said to. I am talking about quiet pantry staples that sit on shelves, ignored until they are not there anymore. And right now in 2025, Costco corporate is making decisions about what stays and what goes in 2026. I have seen the pattern before. Items disappear without announcement. 1 week, they are there. Next week, empty shelf space filled with something trendy that costs twice as much. Here is what nobody talks about. When Costco discontinues something, it is gone from every single warehouse. This is not like your local grocery store shuffling brands. This is a nationwide cutoff. And the items getting axed in 2026 are not the flashy stuff. They are foundational staples most people overlook, which is exactly why they are vulnerable. While everyone is hoarding the same viral products, I quietly stock the boring workhorses that actually matter when supply chains tighten. Number 7 on this list is sitting in your local Costco right now for under $15. I opened a container from 4 years ago last month. Still perfect. But when I get to that one, you are going to understand why mainstream prepper advice has been steering you wrong this whole time. The problem is that when everyone reads the same blogs and buys the same stuff, that is exactly what disappears first. Back in early 2020, I watched certain aisles get cleared in 2 hours, but the items I am about to share fully stocked the next day. And the day after that. If you want to know which staples to grab before Costco pulls them for good, you need to subscribe right now. Because I track these discontinuations like it is my job. And next year when these shelves are empty, this video is going to feel like a time capsule you wish you had paid attention to. Let me start with the first one. And this is going to sound completely boring until you realize what it actually does. Kirkland's Signature Extra Virgin Olive Oil in the 3-liter tin. Not the glass bottles. The tin. Most people walk right past this because it looks industrial. It looks like something a restaurant would use. And that is exactly the point. This specific format, the metal tin, is getting discontinued because Costco is pivoting to smaller glass bottles that look prettier on a shelf but cost more per ounce and have a shorter shelf life. Here is the insight nobody talks about. Olive oil in a dark metal container, stored in a cool pantry, stays viable for up to 3 years. Glass bottles? Light degradation cuts that time in half. Even if the glass is tinted, I have had tins in my pantry since 2022. I cracked one open 2 weeks ago to make a batch of dressing. 0 rancid smell. Smooth. Clean. Compare that to a bottle I bought from a regular grocery store 6 months prior. Rancid. Bitter. Useless. Last spring I hosted a dinner for 12 people. I used olive oil from a tin I purchased in late 2021. Nobody could tell. Not one person. And here is the practical mechanic. You do not need to do anything special. Buy the tin. Put it in a pantry or basement where the temperature stays below 75 degrees. That is it. No oxygen absorbers. No fancy buckets. The tin does the work. A 3-liter tin costs around $23 at Costco right now. That is about 48 cups of oil. Your local grocery store charges $8 for a 16-ounce glass bottle of comparable quality. Do the math. You are paying less than half per ounce, and it lasts longer. Meanwhile, preppers are spending $60 on freeze-dried oils or shelf-stable substitutes that taste like industrial runoff. And here's why this survives a shortage. When panic hits, people grab bottles. Small, portable, familiar. The big industrial-looking tin? Ignored. I watched it happen in real time during the early pandemic. Bottles gone. Tins untouched for days. Look, food prices are not coming down, and Costco knows their members are price sensitive. I have done the math for you and put together a free Costco discontinued staples checklist that lists the exact items you must grab before they vanish, including cost per serving and storage tips. It can stock your pantry for 6 months and costs less than 2 weeks of takeout. You can grab it for free at the link in the description so you can stop guessing and start locking in the staples that matter. Number 2, Kirkland Organic Coconut Oil in the 84-ounce tub. This one is getting axed because Costco is bringing in smaller jars that are easy to ship in stock, but cost significantly more per ounce. The 84-ounce tub is a beast. It is big. It is bulky. And that is exactly why it is on the chopping block. Before you think this is just for people making smoothie bowls, hear me out. Coconut oil has a shelf life of around 2 years at room temperature in a sealed container. Longer if you keep it cool. It is solid at room temperature, which makes it incredibly stable. No oxidation issues like seed oils. No rancidity creep. And it has a smoke point of 350 degrees, which makes it versatile for actual cooking, not just Instagram recipes. I keep a tub in my pantry and one in my garage. Last winter, during a power outage that lasted 4 days, I used coconut oil for everything. Cooking, lighting. I made an improvised candle by melting a small amount into a jar with a wick. Burn clean for 6 hours. Try that with vegetable oil. You cannot. It smokes. It stinks. It is a mess. Here is what I do. I scoop out a few tablespoons and use it exactly like butter for roasting vegetables or pan-frying proteins. You can also use it in baking as a 1-to-1 substitute for butter or shortening. Dead simple. The flavor is mild if you buy the refined version. If you get the virgin unrefined, it has a slight coconut taste, which is great for certain dishes, but not for everything. An 84-ounce tub runs about $18. Compare that to the 12-ounce jars at a regular grocery store that cost $7 each. You would need 7 jars to match the Costco tub. That is $49. You are saving $31 on one item. And when this gets discontinued, you'll be paying those inflated prices whether you like it or not. Why does this survive shortages? Because most people do not think about fat. They think about carbs. Rice, pasta, beans. But your body needs fat. Not wants. Needs. And when everyone is panicking over flour and canned goods, the coconut oil aisle stays quiet. Number 3 is going to surprise you. Kirkland Organic Peanut Butter in the twin pack. 2 28-ounce jars. This seems like it should be safe, right? Peanut butter is a staple. But Costco is shifting towards single jar packaging for faster turnover and better margin control. The twin packs are inefficient for their supply chain, so they're gone. Here is what most people miss. Peanut butter is not just protein. It is calorie dense, shelf stable for up to a year unopened, and requires zero preparation. You can eat it straight from the jar with a spoon. You can mix it into oatmeal. You can thin it with water and make a sauce. You can use it as a base for energy bars. I have done all of these. 3 years ago, I went on a backcountry camping trip. 7 days. I brought 2 jars of this exact peanut butter. No refrigeration. July heat. 90-degree days. The peanut butter stayed perfectly fine. I use it every single morning mixed with instant oats and a handful of dried fruit. Every single day. Never got sick. Never had a texture issue. Compare that to nut butters in those little squeeze packs that cost $4 each and contain about 2 tablespoons. The twin pack costs around $12. That is 56 ounces total. Regular grocery store peanut butter runs about $6 for 16 ounces of organic. You would need 3.5 jars to match Costco. That is $21. You are saving $9 per twin pack. And here's the kicker. Peanut butter does not look like prepper food. It looks like normal pantry stuff. Nobody fights over it during a panic. I have watched people clear shelves of canned soup and box pasta while the peanut butter sits there fully stocked. People underestimate it. That is your advantage. Number 4. Kirkland Roasted Seaweed Snack Packs. This one sounds weird. Stay with me. Costco is discontinuing these because they are a niche item with inconsistent sales velocity. They take up shelf space that corporate wants to use for higher margin snacks. But this is one of the smartest things you can stockpile. Seaweed is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Just one sheet contains more iodine than most people get in an entire week. It also has magnesium, calcium, iron, and vitamin K, and it is shelf-stable for over a year in the original packaging. I have packs in my pantry from early 2024. Still crispy. Still flavorful. Zero degradation. Last year, I had a stretch where I was eating the same rotation of foods for 2 weeks straight. Rice, Beans. Chicken. My brain started feeling foggy. I was irritable. Food monotony causes decision fatigue. Boring food makes you stupid when you need to be smart most. I started adding seaweed to my rice. Just crumbled a sheet over the top. The umami flavor broke the monotony. My mood improved. Sounds dramatic, but it is true. Here is the practical use. Crumble over rice, soup, or salad. Use it as a wrap for leftovers. Eat it straight as a snack. My kids treat it like chips. A 10-pack of seaweed snacks at Costco costs about $8. Compare that to the single-serve packs at a regular store that run $2 each. You are paying a fifth of the price. Why does it survive a shortage? Because most preppers have never heard of it. It is not on any mainstream prepper list. It is not featured in freeze-dried meal kits. It is invisible, and that invisibility is exactly why it will be sitting on shelves when everything else is gone. Number 5. Kirkland Organic Quinoa in the 4-pound bag. Costco is cutting this to streamline their grain section. They are keeping rice and oats, but quinoa is getting pulled. And that is a mistake for anyone trying to build a resilient pantry. Quinoa is a complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot make on its own. Rice does not do that. Pasta does not do that. Quinoa does. And it stores for up to 3 years in an airtight container with an oxygen absorber. I have quinoa from 2021 in a sealed bucket. I cooked a batch last week. Perfect texture. No bitterness. No weevils. 2 winters ago, I had a friend stay with me who was vegetarian. I was not prepared. My pantry was heavy on meat-based meals. But I had quinoa. I cooked it like rice, added some canned tomatoes, olive oil, and spices. She said it was one of the best meals she had in weeks. That is the power of a complete protein that does not require refrigeration or special prep. Here's how to use it. Rinse it under cold water for 30 seconds to remove the bitter coating. Then cook it 1 part quinoa to 2 parts water. Bring to a boil. Reduce to simmer. Cover. 15 minutes. Done. You can eat it as a side. You can mix it into soups. You can use it as a base for grain bowls. Dead simple. A 4-pound bag costs around $13. Regular grocery stores charge about $7 for a 1-pound bag. You would need 4 bags. That is $28. You are saving $15 per bulk bag. And when this is gone from Costco, you are back to paying double. Why does it survive a shortage? Most people do not know how to cook it. They see it as trendy health food, not survival food. When panic buying starts, people grab what they recognize. Quinoa stays on the shelf because it is unfamiliar. That is your edge. Number 6. Kirkland Organic Salsa in the twin pack. 2 jars, 38 ounces each. This is getting discontinued because Costco is consolidating their refrigerated salsa section. They are prioritizing fresh options with shorter shelf lives and higher turnover. But the Jared shelf-stable salsa is what you actually want. Here is what nobody tells you. Salsa is not just a condiment. It is a flavor system. When you're eating the same bland staple for days or weeks, flavor fatigue sets in fast. You stop wanting to eat. Your morale drops. Salsa fixes that. You can pour it over rice. Mix it into beans. Use it as a simmer sauce for chicken or beef. Use it as a topping for eggs. Last year, during a stretch of budget tightness, I ate rice and beans for 10 days straight. I rotated between salsa, hot sauce, and soy sauce to keep it interesting. The salsa days were the best. The acidity and flavor complexity made the meals feel intentional instead of desperate. That psychological component matters more than people admit. A twin pack of Kirkland's salsa costs about $8. Compare that to a single 16-ounce jar of comparable organic salsa at a grocery store that runs $5. You would need 4 jars to match the Costco pack. That is $20. You are saving $12. And here is the shelf life reality. Unopened Jared salsa lasts up to 18 months. Once open, it lasts 2 weeks in the fridge. But in a power outage scenario, you can consume an open jar within 3 days if you're feeding multiple people. I have done it. No issues. Why does it survive a shortage? Because people think of it as a party food, something for chips, not something essential. during panic buying. The salsa aisle stays calm while the canned vegetables get destroyed. I have seen it over and over. Number 7. This is the one I teased earlier. Kirkland Organic Black Beans in the 8-can pack. 25 ounces per can. Costco is phasing this out in favor of smaller 4-packs with higher per unit pricing. Corporate is betting that smaller pack sizes move faster and generate better margins. They are right, but that does not help you. Black beans are one of the most underrated survival foods on the planet. They are high in protein, high in fiber, shelf-stable for up to 5 years in can. You do not need to cook them. You can eat them cold straight from a can. They are pre-seasoned if you get the Kirkland Organic version, which means they already taste good without any additions. For years ago, I was stuck at home during a winter storm that shut down roads for 6 days. No power, no heat except a small propane heater. I ate black beans mixed with rice cooked over a camp stove. I added salsa when I had it, sometimes just salt. I never got bored. The beans provided enough calories and protein that I did not feel depleted. Compare that to someone eating plain pasta or plain rice. You would feel weak by day 3. Here is the practical mechanic. Open a can. Drain half the liquid if you want a thicker consistency. Heat it on a stove or eat it cold. Mix with rice, wrap in a tortilla, or eat it straight with a spoon. You can also mash it and use it as a base for dips or spreads. An 8-can pack costs around $14. That is about $1.75 per can. Regular grocery store organic black beans cost about $2.50 per can. You would need 8 cans. That is $20. You are saving $6 per pack. Why does it survive a shortage? Beans are boring. They are not exciting. They do not get featured in viral prep videos. People buy them as an afterthought, if at all, and that is why they are always in stock when the sexy stuff is gone. Number 8. Kirkland Organic Tomato Paste in the 8-pack. 6-ounce cans. This is getting cut because Costco is moving toward larger single cans and tubes that take up less packaging space. But the small cans are actually better for long-term storage. Tomato paste is a flavor concentrator. You only need a tablespoon or 2 to completely transform a dish. And once you open a small can, you can use the whole thing in 1 or 2 meals. With a larger can or tube, you have to store the remainder, which degrades quickly once exposed to air. I keep a case of these in my pantry at all times. Last summer, I made a massive pot of chili for a neighborhood cookout. I used 4 cans of tomato paste as the base. The depth of flavor was insane. People asked what my secret was. It was not a secret. It was just concentrated tomato in the right quantity. Here's how to use it. Add a tablespoon to soups or stews for richness. Mix 2 tablespoons with water and spices to make a quick pizza or pasta sauce. Use it as a base for braising meats. You can even thin it out and use it as a substitute for tomato sauce in a pinch. An 8-pack costs about $9. That is about $1.12 per can. Regular grocery stores charge about $1.75 per 6-ounce can. You would need 8 cans. That is $14. You are saving $5 per pack. Why does it survive a shortage? Because people think bigger is better. They grab the 28-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes and leave the paste behind. Paste is boring. Paste is small. Paste gets ignored. That is your opportunity. Number 9. Kirkland Organic Maple Syrup in the 1-liter bottle. Costco is discontinuing the size in favor of smaller bottles with higher price per ounce. The 1-liter format is too good of a deal. It undercuts their margin targets, so it is getting pulled. Maple syrup is not just for pancakes. It is a shelf-stable sweetener that lasts indefinitely if stored properly. I have a bottle from 2020. Still perfect. No crystallization. No off flavors. And it is one of the few natural sweeteners that does not require refrigeration after opening if you keep it sealed tight. Last fall, I used maple syrup to glaze roasted carrots for a dinner party. I also use it to sweeten oatmeal, marinades, and even homemade barbecue sauce. The flavor complexity of real maple syrup cannot be matched by corn syrup or artificial substitutes. And in a scenario where morale matters, a little sweetness goes a long way. Here is a practical mechanic. Use it as a 1-to-1 substitute for honey or sugar in most recipes. Drizzle it over oatmeal, yogurt, or roasted vegetables. Add a tablespoon to salad dressing for balance. Use it in marinades for pork or chicken. A 1-liter bottle costs about $17. Compare that to the 12-ounce bottles at a grocery store that run $10 each. You would need 2.5 bottles to match the Costco size. That is $25. You are saving $8. Why does it survive a shortage? People do not think of syrup as essential. It is a luxury, a treat, and during panic buying, luxuries get skipped. People grab beans and rice and leave the syrup behind. But when you're eating bland food day after day, that little bit of sweetness keeps you sane. Number 10. Kirkland Organic Chicken Stock in the 6-pack, 32-ounce cartons. Costco is cutting this to streamline their broth section. They are keeping beef and vegetable, but chicken is getting axed. And that is a problem because chicken stock is the most versatile base for soups, stews, and grains. Chicken stock adds flavor and nutrients to anything you cook. Rice cooked in chicken stock tastes 10 times better than rice cooked in water. Beans simmered in chicken stock become rich and savory. Even plain pasta gets elevated. 2 years ago, I made a huge batch of soup using this exact stock as the base. I added canned tomatoes, white beans, spinach, and pasta. Fed 8 people. Cost me maybe $12 total. Everyone went back for seconds. The stock was a foundation. Without it, the soup would have been flat and boring. Here is how to use it. Substitute it for water anytime you cook grains or legumes. Use it as a base for soups and stews. Drink it warm with a little salt when you are feeling run down. It is hydrating and comforting. A 6-pack costs about $12. That is $2 per carton. Regular grocery stores charge about $4 per 32-ounce carton. You would need 6 cartons. That is $24. You are saving $12 per pack. Why does it survive a shortage? Most people buy canned soup instead of making their own. They do not think about stock. And when panic hits, they grab the ready-to-eat stuff and ignore the building blocks. That is why stock sits untouched. Number 11. Kirkland Organic Brown Rice in the 12-pound bag. This is the last one, and it is critical. Costco is discontinuing the 12-pound format in favor of smaller bags that are easier to ship and stock. But the bulk bag is where the value lives. Brown rice is more nutrient-dense than white rice. It has more fiber, more vitamins, and a lower glycemic index. And it stores for up to 2 years in a sealed container with an oxygen absorber. I have rice from 2022 that I cooked last month. Perfect texture. No rancidity. No bugs. 3 years ago, I lived off rice and beans for a month as an experiment. I wanted to see if I could actually do it. The brown rice kept me full longer than white rice ever did. The fiber made a difference. I did not get the energy crashes. I did not feel depleted. And I saved a ridiculous amount of money. Here is a practical mechanic. Rinse the rice under cold water. Use a 2-to-1 water to rice ratio. Bring to a boil. Reduce to simmer. Cover. 45 minutes. Done. You can eat it plain. Mix it with beans. Use it as a base for stir fries. Add it to soups for bulk. A 12-pound bag costs about $16. Regular grocery stores charge about $4 per 2-pound bag. You would need 6 bags. That is $24. You're saving $8 per bulk bag. Why does it survive a shortage? Because white rice is more popular. White rice cooks faster. White rice is what most people recognize. Brown rice is the overlooked sibling. And that is exactly why it will still be there when the white rice is gone. While everyone else is fighting over the same tired viral products and freeze-dried meal kits, you now know 11 staples that are cheaper, easier to store, and will actually still be available when the next disruption hits. These are not guesses. These are items I have used in real scenarios over the past 7 years. They work. Drop a comment telling me which of these you're going to stock up on first. I want to know if you're Team Olive Oil, Team Black Beans, or Team Maple Syrup. Let me know. Next week, I am revealing the 7 tools everyone thinks are essential for emergencies, but are actually worthless in a real scenario. I have tested all of them. Some failed in under an hour. You do not want to miss that one. I will see you then. And here's what I want you to understand before you leave. These 11 items are not just about having food on hand. They are about building a pantry that actually functions when it matters. Because the difference between someone who survives a disruption comfortably and someone who panics is the difference between knowing what to buy and guessing. You have watched people clear shelves of the same items everyone else buys. You have seen the panic. You have seen the empty aisles. But you also now know that the best things to have are the ones nobody thinks about until they suddenly need them. That is the pattern I have observed for 7 years. The flashy stuff disappears first. The boring staples stay. What I really want you to take away from this is that you do not need to be dramatic about this. You do not need to turn your basement into a warehouse. You just need to be intentional. When you go to Costco, instead of grabbing what looks good on the end cap or what an influencer told you to buy, you grab the things that actually store well, actually taste good, and actually provide real nutrition when everything else is unavailable. Start with 2 items. Maybe it is the olive oil and the black beans. Maybe it is the coconut oil and the brown rice. Buy them this week. Put them in your pantry. Get comfortable with them. Learn how to use them. Then next month, add 2 more. In 6 months, you have built a pantry that is genuinely resilient and genuinely affordable. The 11 items I have walked you through today are still available right now. Next month, some of them might already be gone. Costco moves fast when they decide something is discontinued. Do not wait for the announcement. Do not assume you have time. If any of these resonate with you, get them now while they are there and while they are cheap. And remember, you already downloaded the free Costco Discontinued Staples checklist that has the exact quantities, the storage methods, and the costs. Use that as your reference when you go shopping. It takes the guesswork out completely. I appreciate you sticking around for this one. This information is not sexy. It is not going to go viral, but it is real. It is based on experience, and it is going to serve you way better than whatever is trending on social media right now. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next one, and hit that notification bell if you want to be alerted the moment the video about those worthless emergency tools goes live. You are going to want to see what failed and why. Thank you for watching. I will see you next week.